Football is the most beautiful and most popular sport in the world. What comes with that is also many technology that comes with it. Stop laughing.
Oh my god!
Okay, that was the intro. Let's get it. Welcome to the new tier lists. Today, I invited one guest all the way from
Bro, you sound like Borat, bro.
bro.
That goes, ladies, wash our room.
Welcome to the new episode of Football Tier List, where we judge things that work or don't work in football. I invited a new guest today, Ahmed Ibrahim, aka Mamba Elite.
What's up, guys? Nice to meet you. Here, sports physiotherapist and elite performance coach, getting you from pain to performance. So today we're gonna go through tier lists that gonna help you. What's gonna help your football game and what's really not. So we're gonna go through all the tiers and go try to discuss from S tier for you and what's an E tier.
Yes, exactly. And let's test Ahmed with the first one. It's sleep consistency. This one. Where are we putting it on our list?
For me, it's the most underrated tool. So for me, it's an S.
Agree.
Now, as you know, Patrick, you see it through Root, you see it through different recovery gadgets. People are recording their sleep time, their deep sleep, their REM sleep, and everything. And the hype about it is actually real because 95% of your recovery comes from your sleep. Okay, and obviously there's other things that dictate your sleep quality. But at the end of the day, if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. And if you're not recovering, you're going to be in recovery debt. And if you're in recovery debt, higher risk of injuries.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, because we both have Whoop, we know how important the sleep consistency is for the overall recovery score. Like in the days where even if I, for example, might sleep 10 hours, but I went to sleep like 1 o'clock in the night, the recovery not gonna be as good as if I slept 8 hours, but in my correct sleeping window.
And that is known as your circadian rhythm. As you know, Patrick, for the people that don't know, 1 hour before midnight is worth more than 2 hours after midnight. So that's how important it is. If you want to look more into information, look into in terms of like your melatonin production time, circadian rhythm, etc., etc.
For sure, for sure. Okay, the next one is 1080 sprint. Personally, I haven't used this device, but I heard like good opinion about it, and I have seen
I've used it.
You've used
I've
it.
used it.
Okay, so
I'd
I
say,
give you the decision to judge. What do you think?
I'd say, me personally, it's a B list for me. The
Okay.
reason behind it is because it's for people who are already at elite level looking for the extra edge, really and truly. It's basically, for those who don't know, 1080 is basically a cable machine whereby you wrap it around your hips or you wrap it around your torso, and it's a resistance based training in terms of resistance sprints. Really good for acceleration, first of explosiveness, and you can even use for turning, twisting and turning for agility and change of direction as well.
I would also say like I would put it maybe between B and C, just because it's expensive. You know, it costs like 20,000 euros or something, and not many people have access to it. I would say only like top elite athletes or clubs. So like for me, do you agree with me to put it in between B and C?
I'd say for me, obviously, I've had the privilege of like working with top SNC coaches and physio, so I've used it for free. I never knew the prices. I'll be honest.
Mm.
But the fact you're saying 20K, that's crazy. goes down for me way lower. But obviously, I'm not looking at in terms of just recovery tool. I'm just looking at as well as like cost effectiveness in terms of return of investment. For me personally, there's other ways that you can train resistor sprints.
Yeah.
So that for me can go down to a C or D for me. It's obviously it's dead fancy, but like I said, guys, if you haven't got the basic of symmetrical strength in all of your muscles in both on the left and the right leg, good stability, good rate of force development, good reactive strength index. If you're gonna have these nailed down as a foundational sense and good stability and mobility and everything, then that is literally pointless.
Yeah. 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 Let's agree on the C tier here. Okay.
Perfect.
The next one is live kinetic football exercises. So this is
I'll
like
leave
for
it to you,
people,
Patrick.
yeah,
You go first.
for people that don't know what is live kinetic is basically using your upper body together with lower body. For example, doing ball mastery drills together with juggling the tennis balls, for example. In this live kinetic, you are working two parts of the brain simultaneously, and I would say for the youth players, I think this is a very good way to develop their coordination and overall technique. But if I would give it to more experienced athletes, I wouldn't see as much benefit. And people would also look at this as circus, for example. So, but of course, we are talking about the benefits, and I would say, even though it gives you much benefits, it's not as good as the other things later on the list that we're gonna speak about. And for me, I would put it in between A tier and B tier. Do you agree with me?
I'm putting it more C tier. It's because obviously there's different ways you can work on your hand-eye coordination and and general coordination and body awareness and spatial awareness. There's different ways you can train that. Um, and again, like you said, it's very allocated to a particular age group where they're gonna see high return on investment compared to other age groups. I think I'd say I agree with you. I'd say up until under 12, under 13s. After that, we don't really see much return on investment because at that age, either you got the coordination or you ain't got it. I'll be honest. And the best age group to develop it, like you said, like 13, 12 and under.
But listen now, like many players haven't done those before. And I can tell you from experience, there are many players that are 16 or 18 that lack coordination because they haven't played much sports in the past. Like, especially now, it's many people that are just playing football, and they are coordinated with the lower body, but upper body is, for example, stiff. So,
Uh,
if you don't want me to put it in between A and B, at least let me put it in B.
all right.
And
Let's put
also,
it in
it's
B.
cheap. All you need is just two tennis balls, one tennis ball, and very accessible. You can do this at home, in your garden, whatever. So
Uh,
I put it in B tier. Fair
I don't know.
enough?
We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, we put it in a B tier. Okay,
Thank
next
God for
one
that.
is playing football in zone 4 and 5. Ahmed, I will let you explain to people what's zone 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. What's that? And
So zones is basically your heart rate. So it's all about what category your heart rate's working at. So zone one is basically rest state. Zone two is slightly elevated. Zone three and four is highly elevated, and you're in that aerobic state. And then zone five, you're in anaerobic state basically. And you're basically working at almost submaximal to maximal heart rate. So like 90 to 100% of your heart rate. Now, a lot of players may get fatigue for like decision fatigue during zone four and five. And the body gives up and the body's not coordinated anymore, and that's when injuries also happen as well. So if your body's not accustomed to living or performing at a high zone, then not only will your performance hinder, but your body will break down as well, leaving a high risk of injuries as well.
Mm. Yeah, I would also say something that you told me some days ago, that you are a different player in different zones. You can be one type of player in zone 2 when it's easy, when you are not breathing so heavy, when you don't need to think so quickly. But in zone 5, you might be completely different player. For example, being afraid of dribbling, making stupid decisions. So, so this is like something that not many people know, that you actually are a different player in different kind of zones that you are in. And fourth and fifth zones are, I think, the most important zones in football, because that's your explosive actions. Yeah, for me, it's an S tier.
I stay for me.
S tier, yeah, agreed. Okay, next one is GPS vest. Now it's more popular as before. Like 5 years ago, when you had the GPS vest on, you were basically, people looking at you like you are crazy. But now it's a bit more common. So like in every team I have been to, there was always some kind of player that was already investing in those GPS vests themselves, and I also have been to teams that were having the GPS vests on trainings and games. So this is something that has been adopted already in football.
Main GPSs are good for a few things. It's measure data. Obviously, you can't know if you're improving or getting better if you have no way of measuring things. So that's a good way to measure things. And also, it's a good way to manage your workload as well. Obviously, Patrick, you've been hearing at a lot of clubs that we've been at, managing your workload, um, high intensity session, low intensity session, medium intensity session, high strain, low strain, how much high speed running you've done, how much sprinting distance you've done, what's your top speed, how much acceleration, deceleration you've done, what's the difference between your right and the left foot, how many steps, is it evenly distributed. All this information is really important. But again, it's the same with group. If you're not if you're not the type of player or the type of person that is at a high level of attention to detail. Same with Whoop. For the guys, if you don't know Whoop, Whoop gives you data. The more data you input into it, and the more attention and you take that data and feedback back, the more output you're going to get back out of it. So for the for the beginners and some intermediate athletes, I wouldn't recommend having a GPS. Just focus on the basics, especially the younger athletes. But I'd say under 14, 15s and above, then I'd say it's really important. So I'd rank that. I'd say again a C tier, B tier for me.
I would say between C and D maybe, because like we are like, not many players know what to do with this info. You get me? Like, okay, you get data, but and like a common player will just look, okay, top speed, okay, total distance, and that's it. Like he will just carry on. So like I think you need also to spend some time reading and learning like what to do with this data, and many players just don't have time for it. So for me, it's between C and D.
We can, yeah, let's choose C.
Okay, C. Okay, we have C. Next one is a bit of a mental hack, and this is imagining that there is a camera that is following you 24/7. It's a mental tip.
Um, for me, it's a it's an A tier for me. The reason being is because if you had a camera around you, you'd hold yourself at a certain standard.
Mm.
Especially if you know that if you know that camera is going to national television, international
Mm,
standard, it's gonna be worldwide type of thing. 7 billion people watching. You're gonna hold yourself accountable. You're gonna hold yourself to a certain standard, and you're gonna think twice before you act. And you're never gonna act out of emotions. You're gonna act out of logic. Which again, most bad decisions people make on and off the pitch is always when in an emotional state. The quicker you can get out of that emotional state and think more of a logical state, and you can try reflect and take the lessons from what happens to you in life, whether you've had a bad match or whether you've had a bad week or whatever. You're never gonna think, "Oh, why always me?" Blah blah blah. The cameraman's gonna be like, "Brother, I need more action. I
mm,
need more action.
mm,
More energy, more energy."
yeah.
And then, yeah, do you know what? No time to be down too much. Maybe I'll be down for a couple of hours and that, but who's going to carry the boats, man? Yeah, you don't know me,
Mm,
son. So you've got to have that vibe, and it gives you the grit. It gives you that extra chip on the shoulder, and you learn how to not take yourself too seriously. You learn how to laugh at yourself. You learn how to ride the wave of life, the ups and downs. Then you're gonna quickly learn not to get too stuck on the lows, but not to get too stuck on the highs as well. Of the having that accountability mindset will go a long way because you're gonna ride the wave of life, um, where it's gonna be full of ups and downs because life, at the end of the day, life is never going to be a straight road. It's always going to be full of up and down, which means you're not going to get too stuck on the lows, and you're not going to get too stuck on the highs.
mm, yeah. And I can also add that many people are just living casual lives, you know, and they are not putting much urgency on their actions. And if you have the camera watching there all the time, you will not be sitting pointless doing nothing, you know. You're gonna act out of urgency, you know, you're gonna go and grab this life. So for me, it's also A tier, maybe between A and S. I think it's actually
Yeah, I
between A
agree.
and S. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
The only reason we didn't put an S is because we understand that life will have different personalities, different people, different. Some people are going through personal traumas and whatever, and some people are overthinkers, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, the camera's around me," oh, and then they're gonna overthink. So it's all about how you're gonna utilize that, and it's all about perception and perspectives as well. So that's why one of the reasons we didn't put it on S.
Mm. Yeah. And speaking of overthinking, we can smoothly transition to the next one. Is escaping your comfort zone. Where are we putting it?
S for me, personally, it's
150%.
S. Yeah, because like I said, anything in life that's worth having does not come easy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And in fact, like the best way I can explain it, guys, is basically you're at this level, you want to get to this level, but you've never been this level, so it's going to feel uncomfortable because you're uncomfortable at this level. As simple as that.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of uncomfortable, there is one thing that I have here, and this is learning how to speak on camera. Where are we putting this one? Like for me, it's uh, it's sometimes like when you are lonely, it feels like a kind of like therapy, you know, like when you speak alone to a camera and you can just let your thoughts out, and you can analyze yourself, also analyze the body language, analyze your tonality, you know. So it's like many things that you can analyze later. Like I encourage players and people in general to like film themselves maybe once in their life, you know, and just to analyze how is their body language, how is their facial expression, and they don't need to publish it, but just to analyze, you know.
Uh, I agree with you because speaking to a camera it sounds a bit weird, but speaking to a camera is like vocal journaling for me.
Mm.
It's like you're journaling, but instead of writing it down, you're just voicing it out. You're speaking, and what you're doing, you'll be like, your brain's gonna be like, did I just hear this? Am I waffling, or am I reaffirming the truth, or am I reaffirming my brain imagination? And then you can be like, no, 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 brain, that's not true. Stop the cap.
Mm.
It's not this. It's this, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm capping. And then you can be like that. Then you can adjust yourself because at the end of the day, your brain doesn't know what's real and what's not, what's actual truth and what's imagination. It just sees both of them as equally as true. You just have to reaffirm which one is actual reality truth and which one is more imaginary truth. And you have to differentiate that. The quicker you can do that, guys, better and the further you're gonna get to success.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And also I would say like many young players, like they are not aware. I had the same problem. Like I was not aware of how much space in the universe I'm taking. You know what I mean? Like it's the only thing that can show you this is when you record yourself, and you can actually see like who are you. You know how people perceive you. So
100%.
yeah, for me it's an A tier.
Yeah, same. I agree.
Mm. Okay. The next one is language lessons. Where are we putting the language lessons in here?
Um,
Obviously, football has its own language, you know. When you're a good player, you don't need to speak the local language, but it has the benefits.
Me personally, it teaches you how to be open-minded. That's me
Mm,
personally. Now, the amount of like in football industry or life where no one, there's nothing more that I hate than coming across someone that is so close-minded or ignorant. I
mm,
hate that, right? And the fact that you're so open-minded and you're self-aware and you're open to a world outside of yourself will attract you more good vibes than bad vibes. I'm a firm believer of that. So I don't. I think it's beneficial. Is it necessary? No. There's other ways you can try to be open minded, other than learning languages. But it goes a long way, especially if you guys' aspiration is to play abroad or try to have success and live abroad. Then 100% don't see why it's a problem.
mm. Yeah, and like what I can give a good example. When Mbappe came to Real Madrid, in his presentation, he started speaking Spanish out of nowhere. And you know, like nobody knew that he can even speak Spanish, and he won the hearts
Mm,
of Real Madrid fans immediately.
yeah,
You know,
that's what I
so
mean. It's like
so it's also like kind of appreciation for the culture.
100%. I completely agree with you. And like I say, it's like I said, it's common courtesy out of respect, out of interest. So it goes a long way.
B tier for me. What do you think?
So I'd say C to D, me
Yeah, I'm
personally.
thinking now, like if we actually put 1080 and GPS vest, you know, on C, we should actually go a bit lower with the language.
Yeah, I'd say it's a D for me.
Between C and D?
I'd say it's a D, trust me.
Okay, okay. You're the guest, so I can agree. Okay. Next one, training decision making under fatigue. That's a bit of correlated with the zone 5 and 4, but this is like in training environment. You know, so this is like stretching yourself in your training to make decisions while you're tired. And
That's
this is something that I can say because this is something that I work with the players on. And for me, this is undisputably S tier because that's the only way, you know, to grow your mind is to think sharply once while your body is tired, and there is no other way to grow the mental aspects of the game without being physically tired. So for me, it's Estir,
I completely agree.
and especially like the most important minutes in football are their last minute. This is the kind
The
of
last
players,
15 minutes.
yeah, last 50 minutes. This is like the players that have the most mental capacity in the last moments of the game are the players that are the most clutch.
Uh, like I said, the most goals conceded and scored is in the last 15 minutes in the game, statistically speaking, anyway.
Yeah.